Okay, it's Nathan with Total Environmental Cooling and Heating. We're here again. If you've watched these videos in succession, you can see I'm doing them back to back. Okay, but these are issues that we've been meaning to address that customers ask us quite frequently, that we think that the information just should be out there for customers all over America that have these basic questions. So we're going to talk about filters, the differences, and not about size so much. So one of the things we get is, what is the MERV rating? I can't even remember what MERV stands for. I'm sure it's like media efficiency rate and value or something like. It's got something catchy that goes with it. It basically boils down to how many holes per square inch, pretty much. So you've got an inch here. If the holes are real big, then it's going to be a lower MERV rating because bigger stuff will fit through the hole, right? We get more smaller holes, we increase the MERV rating because large particles can't get through, smaller particles can. And we keep stepping this down until we basically have a sheet of paper. So at some point in time we go, this is no longer going to work for air conditioning. The very first thing that sort of happened is we started out with sort of this fiberglass stuff, and you could pretty much shake sand through it. It wasn't that great, but it kept like bugs out. You know, back in 1985, we just needed to keep bugs and mice and stuff out. You know, but as the efficiency went up, our coils went from something like, I think it was like 9 fins per inch to like 14 fins, and I think we're in the neighborhood of almost 20 fins per inch. And the fins are those, if you've been outside and looked at your unit, the fins are those little plates that stack up side by side. The tighter we can get those, the more efficient the unit gets because it gets more contact and surface area. We're not going to get into that, but just know in 1965, dirt passed through 9 fins per inch. But by 1990, some dirt passed through, but less dirt passed through. And here we are in 2017, and it ain't getting through there. There's micro channeling. Like, it's crazy that the air even gets through there. It's so tightly and densely packed. That means the filters had to progressively get better. So, at some point in time, you get this low MERV. Let's just say this is like MERV nothing. You know, this is, you shake sand through it, right? You got big old holes so you can see daylight, no problem. That became a problem when we moved up. So we went to a tighter, more compact media. That's that spongy foam stuff. You can kind of see light through it. It's pretty thick, you know, maybe a 1/4 inch thick or so. Works pretty good. It had some of its own issues. Once the first layer gets covered, then the rest of the media kind of goes to junk. So we had this problem. How do we get less holes, more but smaller holes into the same, let's just say 20 by 20. Right, let's say that's a real common filter size. So let's say you have 20 by 20 opening. So how do we get this basically almost a sheet of paper? It's so dense. Like, how do we get this media that's got these little tiny, tiny holes inside of this 20 by 20 space, but still have enough of an opening to get all the airflow that we need? Because let's just say, for instance, we've got 10 1-inch holes here, then we need to have 100 1/10 inch holes here. Don't scrutinize me on the math. I just made that up. It sounds right in my head. So that we can still have, you know, 10 square inches of surface for the air to come through. So how do we do that? That's where we got the pleated filter from. So now, just to give you an example, and this is probably pretty close, pretty close to scale, right? So now, we said, man, we need 36 inches of media with these little tiny holes. We need 36 by 36. Well, that won't fit in that 20 by 20. Okay, well, what if we went 36? Well, let's say we went 40 by 20. Well, let's just say it's 36 by 20. What if we get the 36? Yeah, but they've already got this 20-inch opening. What do? Somebody said, hey, what if we folded it like pleats? What if we folded it like a map? So yeah, it's a little thicker, but it'll fit inside this. That 36 inches of media will fit inside this 20-inch space. Boom. So was born the pleated filter. Now, that's why the tighter the pleats, the denser the media can be, because Now we've got these same number of holes, smaller and smaller, but we're getting more and more and more distance. I've unrolled 5-inch filters that are as long as a regular driveway. That's crazy. And that fits in a 20 by 20 space. But they're about this long. That filter's about 5 inches deep. That media looks like cheesecloth almost, or a coffee filter. It's so dense. And it's folded in these 5-inch folds. Boom, boom, boom. Real super tight. Probably, as much distance as from tip of your fingertip to tip of your fingertip is what the difference is. They've got combs to keep them all in there. They do great. Awesome media. And you stretch that bad boy out, and it's 20-something feet long. You got a 20-foot long filter in there using this pleated design. Works great. Now, that's the difference in filters. Obviously, the denser the hole, the greater the MERV, the more stuff it keeps out of the air. If you want more dense filter in your system, I recommend it. You're going to have to get wider, okay? You're going to have to start going from 1 inch to 2 inch to 3 inch to 5 1/4 inch and getting crazy in here, okay? It's the only way to make it happen and not have a filter the size of your door. A filter space the size of your door. You don't want that. All right, let's wrap this up. So the smaller the holes, the bigger the MERV. I think we're at like MERV 16. Some of the other guys use, can't remember what it is, but it's a more technical term. I think Trane calls it their clean effects, and they rate it on something else, and it's got to do with the cubic feet of airflow passing through the media at what static pressure. So a 5-ton filter is actually going to have less life on it than a 3-ton, because a 3-ton doesn't move as many cubic feet of air, so it doesn't have an opportunity to remove as much dirt and dust. So that's, if you don't see a MERV rating, it's got I think they call it a clean effects rating, but it's something like that. I can't remember. If you don't see that MERV rating, it's just a variation of MERV. They've just got a different way of explaining the same thing. Just know the higher the MERV, the better the filter. It does not change time frames. If you have a 1-inch MERV 6 filter, you need to change that filter about once a month. If you buy the awesome bad to the bone MERV, I think it's 11, 1-inch filter you can get, still need to change it once a month. Remember, the more stuff it pulls out of the air, the quicker it gets dirty. You can't fix that. You cannot break that cycle. So our app, if you download our app, it's on the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. We send out a once a month reminder, and it says 1 inch once a month, 2 inch 2 to 3 months, 4 inch or bigger. Then I think we've got it set up for like 4 to 8 months, depending on lifestyle. If you're doing a 4-inch filter, basically you need to have your maintenance done every 6 months anyway. Just have the filter on site. We're more than happy to change out a filter while we're there for you. Most service companies are. I'm not asking you to buy the filter for me, but if you know what size it is, I'm more than happy to pick it up on our way out there to do your maintenance, and just charge you whatever the filter is and go on about our day. It's not that big of a deal. Make sure you get this stuff done. All right. I think that pretty much covers everything, except I wanted to cover one more thing real quick, and we'll go from there. There's a couple products you can buy to either fragrance the air or take odors out of the air. You can get, I believe it's charcoal. Don't beat me up over spelling. I fix air conditioners. I don't edit books. I'm going to guess that's right. Okay? That's charcoal. I think you can get charcoal embedded that pulls out odors and does a pretty good job. But again, whatever the recommended changing is for that size of filter is going to be the same. So you might get a charcoal embedded filter. It says 90 days on it depending on lifestyle. I'm still going to tell you that if you're a normal American, living a normal American life, that a 1-inch filter is going to have to be changed once a month. I don't care what you paid for it, and I don't care what it's got in it. Done deal. Sorry what you thought. Get over it. You can hate me later. That's fine. A couple other things to keep in mind. People love air freshener. That's awesome. Use it myself. And candles. Who doesn't love a candle? Fragrant candles. Pumpkin spice in the winter, vanilla bean. I think cinnamon kind of smells like hot vomit, but whatever you like, right? That's just me. Burning candles has one particular problem. And somebody correct me if I'm wrong on this, but my understanding is that when you burn a candle, what you're actually doing is heating the oil up till it's a mist, and it's aerosoling itself out into your air. This waxy, oily substance just floating in the air. Where's it going to wind up, guys? Come on. That's right. It's going to make it to the filter. What happens when you burn candles? You get oil. What happens when that oil, waxy, sticky stuff gets on your filter? Your filter life just went, it just dropped huge, right? So let's say you got you got hairspray you like to use, you burn candles all the time, you're running air fresheners, all kinds of air fresheners. You're doing all this stuff because you love a house. I mean, I walk into houses that just like assault my nose with fragrances, you know. Hey, that's their house. Fine, great, awesome. You know, I'm way simple. I like a little earthy tone. That's about it, you know. But whatever floats your boat, just remember, don't be surprised if the technician shows up and goes, ma'am, your filter is completely caked up. Well, I just changed it 3 weeks ago. I can't imagine what happened, and it looks like a Catholic church in your house. Well, I mean, that's what happened. So watch out for that kind of stuff. Too much air freshener. Too much burning candles too frequently. I mean, we've seen black soot build up in filters from burning candles. So watch out for that. Not saying don't do it. Just be aware that you might need to change your filter more. And pets. Oh, pets. God. Mittens and Snowball and Blackie and Smokey and whatever, Tiger, whatever name you've got for your little fluffy kitten. I'm not necessarily a cat fan, so I'm not bashing on cats. Cats are fine. You know, they're great. I want a cat outside attacking mice. I hope I don't hurt anybody's feelings, but, you know, I like the nature of things a little bit. Cat hair is a particularly pesky hair. Super fine dander. They make a super fine little hair. You know that. That's why they call them Fluffy. That's another cat named Fluffy, right? That stuff floats, and it will clog up a filter in a heartbeat. So if you have a unit where your vents on low on the floor, you may need to change your filters more frequently. Don't be surprised. Keep in mind, if you let it go too long, that hair, just like the air, will find a way around that filter, because the unit wants air, and it will get it if you give it an opportunity to, regardless if the filter's, it'll suck that filter out of there if it gets a chance, and then it'll suck it up in there and everything else around it, and you didn't even know. You just noticed like 3 days ago it wasn't working that great. All of a sudden, it doesn't sound as bad as it did, and it's cooling fine. And you know, you're going to sit down and have dinner with your cat, right? You're going to brush your cat. That hair's just going everywhere. So keep in mind, if you've got pets, the ones we don't really see a bad issue with are your human hair pets, Yorkies, Maltese, stuff like that. They're not too bad. But everything else, I mean, labs, I mean, to me, all the funnest dogs, you know, the big ones that slobber everywhere, lots of hair. I mean, if you've got all tile floor in your house, you got no carpet, there's nothing to catch that stuff, so you don't even get a chance to vacuum it up, right? You might Swiffer it up, but that stuff's like tumbleweeds across the desert. It's little balls floating around. It's getting sucked up into just whatever. So beware. If you have pets, read that filter, that awesome filter, that $14 or whatever you paid for a filter that says 90 days on it. Read it. It says things like pets and household environment will lower the life of that thing. Yeah, pets, especially if you got like 4 or 5, or if you do a mix of pets like birds, cats, and dogs, you know, you're living on the edge, that filter's going to not make it nearly as long as it was intended to. So stay on top of that thing. Another thing, like aquariums, if you have high humidity, that's going to make things damp. That's going to cause those filters to get a little bit moist and sticky. You're going to suck the dirt and stuff out faster, quicker. Good for you, good for the system, as long as you're staying on top of the change. So make sure you're changing those filters once a month on a 1-inch. If you don't know or you have trouble remembering, download the Total Environmental Cooling and Heating app. We send a message out. You don't even need to remember. You don't even need to remember how frequently you need to change your filter, because we're going to send it out and you're going to, I have a 4-inch filter. I don't need to change it this month. I changed it such and such. Great, I'm so glad they reminded me. Or you can go and you can pull your filter out and you can take a picture of it and you go, do I need to change this filter? And I'll open it up and I'll look at it and I'll go, there's the cat. I found the cat. If you're missing a cat, yes, it's time to change the filter. So you would be surprised, absolutely surprised. I've gone to houses before where the lady told me that she just changes a filter whenever it's used up. And I didn't understand what that meant. And I went and opened up her unit and I pulled out 1, 2, 3, 4 filters. And so what happened is she would open the filter door. If the filter was still there, she didn't need one. But once it got sucked out into the equipment, then she'd put another one in. She was diligent about that. Each one of those filters was very dirty. So, if you don't know when to change them, it's once a month. Just download the app, get the reminder, just go ahead and do it. If you have any questions about, well, I'm not sure. If it was cotton white, like your socks, and now it looks like your sweatpants, the gray ones, it's time to change the filter. If it looks like the animal died on the filter, it's past due to change the filter. If you pull it out and you're questioning what is growing or living on that filter, it's again past due to change your filters. When all else fails, once a month. When all else fails, 1 month per inch. That's kind of an easy way. I don't like that. That's not exactly accurate. But if you could just remember 1 month per inch, so a 2 inch goes 2 months, a 3 inch goes 3, 4 inch goes 4, which really probably goes longer, but that's a kind of a fail-safe. You're good to go. All right, so recap. Higher the MERV, the more stuff it gets out, the more attention that filter needs. I recommend the best filter that you can get, and also remember to change in a timely manner. Dirt kills units. Inefficient airflow kills unit. Probably the #1 killer of air conditioners is dirt. If everybody changed the filters and cleaned their unit regularly on their maintenance, I would probably be a 1-truck operation, and that would probably be an overkill. Probably have less air conditioning men. So, change your filters, change your filters, change your filters. Use a good filter. I'm Nathan with Toll Environmental Cooling and Heating. We're out of Saginaw, Texas. Phone number is 817-694-0919. Download the app, Google Play Store, Apple App Store. Total Environmental Cooling and Heating's cool little app. Just download it. The website is totalehvac.com. We will see you next time I make a video. All right. Thank you. Have a great day.